in his right mind the whole time, and all of a sudden he just had a collapse. And I can tell you, as a son of somebody who suffered from Alzheimer's and dementia, it's not something that just boom starts. There's a cognitive decline. That's why it's called cognitive decline. We're going to live in a world where words mean things.
I wish. I really miss that.
Right? And that doesn't mean I'm pro-Trump, because I got a lot of bad things to say about Donald John Trump.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, but just to respond.
Sure.
As far as what you said about Biden's decline, yes. I was amongst many thinkers that saw this replacement or him stepping down coming years ago.
Yeah.
So saying, okay, they had to make a last minute decision to put Kamala up, I think they just enacted a plan that they already had in their pocket. And it just became on Front Street like, y'all need to do something.
I'll do you one better. Your current sitting president, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. of Delaware, said he was only going to do one term. He said it. Again, please fact check me. Maybe I'm making that up in the magic land of make-believe. Maybe I'm in an alternate universe. Maybe this is Earth 13. But on Earth 1, I remember distinctly this dude saying he was only going to do one term.
I mean,
But then it got good.
Words of power.
Listen, dog, you know, but that's my whole thing. Again, I'm with Killer Mike on this, and I ain't with Killer Mike on much, but I am with him on this. He was like, I'm not going to sit up and argue about which master to serve. My whole thing is these folks are bought and paid for, and I suggest black folks start cutting the check. I don't care who it is. If Kamala said right now, Dave, I'm actually going to do something for black people, not that BS black men thing, which turns out, oh no, but listen, I'm going to take you there. We can go wherever you want. I got plenty of time. Not that BS thing for black men, which isn't for black men, because her campaign has literally said it's for everybody. So that was a trick bag. That was a lie. If you said to me, I'm going to wipe out all y'all student loans and you're going to make good on that promise you told Al Sharpton when you stood in front of the National Action Network and said that you were going to give black people, specifically foundational black Americans, reparations, you'd have my vote. If you were going to give me, you know, anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000 to homeschool my baby and get rid of the U.S. Department of Education because it hasn't done anything for Americans, black or otherwise, ever. But do you know how much the annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is? Anybody in this room know how much the annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is? How many people here have children? The annual operating budget, everybody in here raised their hand, by the way, folks. The annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is $90 billion, and somehow we still have social school segregation based upon where we live. So we have educational redlining happening on our tax dollars. And by the way, before you say, well, all the money the government has isn't coming from your taxes, you're absolutely right. But guess what? The American electorate makes up 80% of the tax dollars. So you have a failing U.S. Department of Education that produces 30th in reading comprehension on the world stage, and 19th in mathematical computation skills. $90 billion a year? No. Give that money to us, the parents. We know how to spend that money. If you do any of that, and by the way, those student loans, you know, because they sold us on the bill of goods that, you know, being a welder ain't sexy. You know, being an architect ain't sexy. Being a mechanic ain't sexy. Being a painter ain't sexy. Being a contractor ain't sexy. So you got to go to school to get a job and then get a job to pay off school because we done gave you student loans. You're 17 and a half years old and we'll give you enough money to buy a house and a Porsche as long as you put it towards the tuition, which, by the way, all colleges are already paid for.
Right.
All colleges get subsidies. All colleges get all types of slush money. But we're going to put you in debt so that your debt to income ratio is shit. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but statistically, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and that U.S. Department of Education, 27% of all people with a bachelor's degree are working in the field that they actually majored in. That means 73% ain't. Last I checked, ain't 27 failing on any test you could ever think of?
All of them.
Okay. If you are willing to do any of those things, I don't care if you're Trump, I don't care if you're Kamala, you got my vote. My vote is up for sale. I ain't loyal to nobody but anybody whose last name is Anderson. And anybody I'm contracted to be loyal to. Any of my clients, I'm loyal to you. Other than that, I'm your private dancer.
I mean, it's basically what we should have been doing anyway. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about being that, you know, this after the debate, they threw out, the Democrats is the one who threw out Trump wants to do the Project 2020.
Certainly.
But they keep saying the Republicans want to do it, but I never So where's that shit really coming from?
It's coming from the Democrats because they don't have anything to stand on. Because if you're paying attention to this thing that's Project 2025, have you read Project 2025?
Highlights.
Have you read
The stuff that they put
the stuff that memes? Right.
No, not memes.
The highlights. The highlights. I've read all 926 pages.
Jesus.
I've also read Agenda 47, and there's enough in Agenda 47 to nail Trump on, which is his actual agenda. By the way, we all agree that Trump's an asshole. Whether you like him or not, he's an asshole. We also agree that Trump ain't got no problem telling you what he's going to do and don't give a fuck what you think about it. So if Trump was really behind Project 2025 like that, why wouldn't he just do it? Why wouldn't he just say it? He said worst. Why this?
I think the difference is the controlling generational factor that's behind 2025. I think that's the big difference.
Well, here's the thing. Do you know who wrote Project 2025?
I can't remember his name.
It's a company called the Heritage Foundation. It's a Republican think tank or very, very hard right-leaning think tank. Do you know the founder of the Heritage Foundation has just endorsed a political candidate? By the way, it's Kamala Harris. Oh! I'm sorry, what?
Wow, yeah, that's
Oh, hi. Dave Anderson and his magical bag of facts here. Ta-da! So the thing of it is, every political think tank, whether it's the National Action Network led by Al Sharpton, whether it's the Rainbow Coalition from Jesse Jackson, every political think tank has the right to put forth an agenda. By the way, Dr. Claude Anderson and Ice Cube put forth an agenda called the Contract with Black America. And they asked Biden and Harris to meet with them. Biden and Harris said, nah, but we'll do a Zoom call after the election with D.L. Hughley and a bunch of other people. And well, I'm going to do a Zoom call when I got specific things I want to talk to you about when it comes to tangibles for my people. And then Trump said, oh, I like some of this. We're going to put it in the platinum plan. Well, Trump didn't do it. Trump didn't get elected, dumbass. Are we going to rewrite history or are we going to recite history? Everybody is allowed to put forth an agenda. It's not a law. Do you know how many laws get passed on the books that none of us Negroes pay attention to? But Project 2025 is coming. You need a red herring. You need something that says the sky is falling because people don't pay attention to what's actually being said, what's actually being read. Americans are the worst about that. That's why they put out headlines. Even when you look at movie reviews, right? I can go back to 1989. There was a movie with Warren Beatty called Dick Tracy. And the movie was trash. It was trash. It was trash 40 years ago. It's trash now. But you know why it was the #1 movie in America? Because when they made the commercials, it said great movie making. And it said with Warren Beatty and the amazing cast that they had, this had the auspices of great movie making. It cut all that other stuff out. Great movie making. That's what they do. They give you the headlines, they give you the Cliffs Notes, they give you the excerpts, the sections, the highlights. And that's what they run with. My whole thing is, I'm worried about the actual agenda, and I'm worried about what actually is going to happen. I also understand for the first time in our lifetime, not in American history, but in our lifetime, we have an apples to apples comparison of what our finances look like under one president and what our finances look like under the other administration for the very first time in our lifetime. How are your finances between 2017 and 2021 versus how they were between 2021 and 2024?
You know that's not fair.
It's not fair. It's a fact. I thought
fair fact or whatever, but it's not a fact.
Well, then give your opinion.
No.
go ahead.
I'm about to.
Go ahead. Tell me how it's not fair.
COVID.
Yeah, like this simple.
COVID.
Yeah, the complete pandemic and halfway shutdown or 75% shutdown of the world is going to affect the kind of money that's raised and given and provided just for people to survive.
Certainly.
So it's not apples to apples.
It's also an economy you inherited. Like if you inherited an economy from Trump, then
Right.
yeah, it's apples to apples. But if you inherited an economy from Obama that was doing one thing, and then you got the COVID, and then you got this other shit, yeah, it's going to kind of look kind of the same. Not to interrupt you.
No, you go ahead. I love this conversation because everybody loves that talking point. Obama said, well, he got my economy. No, he didn't.
So it's not an apples to apples. I mean, it's not apples to apples.
What I'm saying is there's one person who's already been president, and there's somebody who's currently president, or at least part of that administration. And by the way, the current president has said that the vice president was in on every decision. She was the last person out of the room. Everything she did, everything she had, every power that was available to him was available to her. That's what he said. That ain't what I said. So for that, it's apples to apples. The other part of that is COVID also affected the Trump presidency as well, because from 2017 to 2019, we was rolling. 2020 was a mess. 2021 was a mess. But then by that same token, if we're going to go by that rule, because I want to make sure that I'm addressing what you just said because it's important and I want everybody to stick with it. What he said was, we can't, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I don't get the words absolutely right. Jack is kicking in. But what I gathered was you're saying, well, you know, people inherit economies, this, that, and the third. That's funny because they had no problem saying that Joe Biden created all these new jobs when the jobs just came back because COVID had affected people's ability to work because people couldn't be around people.
It goes back to the snapshot thing you were saying again, because we could also say the same thing about Bush's economy. Like there's plenty of times people.
Certainly, but I don't need to go back 24 years when all we're dealing with is what's happening right here and right now.
It's a snapshot thing, like you had mentioned. We can do that with several different presidents.
Right, but what I'm saying is COVID's argument works both ways. Because if you're going to talk about COVID, you also have to talk about the fact that jobs were lost, not because Trump was a quote-unquote bad president, because economically, shit was better. You also have to look at the fact that COVID shut things down. So if it shut it down in 2020, which was the last year of his presidency, and then when we started to open the world back up, because 75% of the world was still shut down, when we open the world back up, those jobs aren't new jobs. Those are jobs that were already there that are coming back. So you then can't claim those jobs like you created them.
Correct.
That's it. That's it and that's all.
I agree with you, because going back to the part about when it opened back up, then you got to discuss how it was handled. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
absolutely. But by that same token, again, I'm a person that deals in facts and not in feelings. Because the same people who are saying, oh, well, you know, we fixed COVID and we did this, we did that, they were the same people that were going on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News saying, well, if Trump's in office and we get that vaccine, we're not going to use it. Well, what vaccine did you use then? What vaccine were you telling everybody to use then? What methods were you doing that were different than what was there? Because Fauci was there the whole damn time.
Oh, when I say how he...
No, I'm just talking. No, not you specifically. I'm talking to the global audience, not particularly you, bro. I'm not.
That's what I'm going to cut. I hate
Yeah.
to do this when I pop in the podcast.
You could have just walked in and set the waters down. You decided to jump in the water.
No, when I always look at it from this perspective, right?
Sure.
Also, how Buddy handled the situation, because I always tell people, if you pay attention to how Trump was even framing the shit, he was bringing y'all back to work. That's why I hate when people say he gave us a check. Every time he came on TV, he said we'd be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks means a paycheck. He was coming back in 2 weeks.
Because that's what he was being told. Like, people don't understand. Presidents only go by what people are telling them. You count on the experts. I own several businesses, and if one of my businesses, like I have a photography business in Fort Lauderdale, and I got one in North Carolina. If my partners in that business are telling me that these things are happening, and I'm like, okay, we got this many shoots, this is happening, this and third. I'm like, yo, so listen, the shoot that we just did, those pictures are coming back in 3 weeks, because that's what I was told. Well, damn, Dave, you told me 3 weeks. It's been 5. Shit, my bad.
Yeah. And it goes back again to the people you're around. Like, that's another reason why I don't trust the dude. You know what I'm saying? Not only the people you're around, it's the down ticket. The people who also trust you from local departments in these states.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Cuba, I remember Cuba and them walking in there talking about the charter schools.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, well, that can't happen based on the people who's voting for him on the down ticket.
Right.
As you see now, DEI, we don't even want to teach about this. We don't want to teach about that. We're not giving money for you even funding that.
Yeah.
That was a photo op, and he even peeped it coming out. It wasn't even really a real conversation to have, because the person you happened to with, who's also in his ear.
Right.
Who's also the people down the ticket.
Right.
Them the people making bigger decisions.
Everybody has to, and this is the thing that people have to understand with us specifically as a people, not all of us, but specifically because I've been black longer than I've been anything else. You know what I mean? I've been black for damn near 5 decades now. I think I'm going to stick with it, unlike some people. But for me, we're Umar. We must stay focused, my brothers. No, for me, it's a situation where we have to understand that no matter who's in there, somebody's going to lose something. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. I am married. I guarantee you my wife didn't get 100% of what she wanted. Yeah, I mean, I ain't even gonna put it on me. I know she didn't get 100% of what she wanted. But in other areas, she's gotten stuff that she couldn't even fathom. You know, you're gonna have to take that, because you're dealing with people who have all of a bunch of different agendas. My problem specifically is we only get involved politically every 4 years.
On this level.
Let me put it to you this way. Who's your alderman?
Right there right now, Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah.
You are one of 1%.
I believe it.
Yeah, you speaking right now, because you know me. My background is get out the votes. My background is doing that. I literally remember saying, this is like 2014, whenever Hillary Clinton was running.
Yeah, 16.
I legitimately remember sitting outside the Oakland City train station. Conversation with two black people, right? Black dude and his baby mama. I'm talking to the black dude about why you need to, get in the voting. I'm telling him personally.
Yeah.
Local level is more important. You
Yes.
your wife got upset at your job and said, I need to talk to the boss. I need to talk to the president. I need to talk to the manager because the manager is local.
Right.
I was explaining that to him situation. He kept telling me, nah. Now his baby mother said, listen to me. Grabbed the form and said, I want to fill out, I want to register to vote. He's steady telling me why he don't have to, why she is registering. I'll never forget that moment. And sometimes we got to start arguing shit and realizing that, this is really happening. And in that moment, I started seeing it again what we see now.
Right.
We see way more sisters trying to get involved. We got more brothers trying to argue.
Yeah, because again, and this is the problem. The numbers are close, but our sisters are a lot more educated. Our sisters have a lot more when it comes to the entrepreneurial space. They have a lot more time to kind of discern what makes sense. They're more intuitive than we are. They have to be. They're the nurturers of our culture. They're the nurturers of our.
If you want to be real, like us,
Yeah.
I love how you mentioned I want to be emotional. We get way more emotional.
Yeah.
Take emotion out of the situation.
Yeah, this is transactional. I need people to understand you live in a corporation.
Black people, can we take the emotion out of it?
Yes, you need to.
We have to.
You need to.
Conversation can just change because of our emotions.
Right, but I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to grow up and realize that that's not going to get you where you need to be. Here's the thing. I've got people who say, well, Dave, I know for a fact you don't like that person. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that person, but that person's the best person for the job. I ain't got to like you to work with you. I ain't got to like you to make money with you. You got to get past that because guess what? Your boss don't like you, but your bitch ass show up for your cubicle. And he uses your bitch ass. He don't like you at all. He can't stand your black skin. He can't stand your nappy hair. He don't like your beard or your Jordans. But guess the hell what? You're producing. That's all that matters. We got to get there. This is a business, and we are stakeholders in a company that we built. And until we realize that we built this company before anybody else, because the folks who quote unquote enslaved us were sitting on their porch drinking country time, having mint julep, and talking about the good old days while we were building this, right? The number one export in this country has been, for the past 247 years, black talent. On every single level of human endeavor. In America, black talent is the number one export, and I defy anybody to prove me wrong. So we need to make sure that we're availing ourselves politically. America is for sale. You better start buying a city council person. I know Kamala says, you better thank a union member. No, you better buy one. You better start writing checks. I think it's great that you go in there, you pull that lever, and you cast your ballot. I think that's phenomenal. Yes, and see, here's the difference, and I remember this as long as I live. Growing up, not necessarily making a ton of money. You know, my mom was a teacher, my daddy was a cop. I remember there used to be these commercials with Phil Rizzuto, and it was called The Money Store. And I'm like, Mom, you always talking about we ain't got no money, we ain't got no money. Yo, Phil Rizzuto on the camera every day talking about the money stores, where America goes for money. Why don't you get that? She said, David, that's a loan. And I'm like, what's a loan? A loan is money you got to pay back. I said, well, okay, but it can get us out of it. She said it could, but I'm going to be putting a strain on the family. And she said, here's the thing. Even if I wasn't, even if I was to make every single payment, once I owe you, then you own me. I'm going to need y'all to start owning some of these folks because you know who does? Heritage Foundation. You know who does? The National Action Network. You know who does? Pfizer, Moderna. You know who does? Coca-Cola, Pepsi. You know who does? High fructose corn syrup. You know who does? Walmart, Target. Everybody but your black ass. But you worry about Project 2025. Come on, man. Miss me with the bullshit. At some level, you got to realize that because you're not cutting checks, and because you're only going to vote one way, and they know you're only going to vote one way, when you don't, look how upset they get. They pulled Obama out of his $20 million mansion to come chastise us. Because they scared. Because for the first time in 60 years, brothers are like, hold up, wait. We got to start using that. But we got to start using it on a local and regional level. You got to start building relationships. If you don't know who's in charge of your school board, if you don't know who's in charge of the PTA at your kid's school, shut the fuck up about the election. And I mean that on both sides of the aisle.
That's a good point. It's a great point.
And make sure you are registered, because there's ways to have conversations with people who ain't registered.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no point in even having an argument. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't going to do something in the first place.
No, you weren't going to do nothing but pump fake and talk shit at the barbershop.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't care. Again, I don't want to cut you off.
You
I don't
good?
care if you go with Jill Stein, but you need to do something. Like the fact that we sitting here arguing with me about who I'm about to vote for, and you going to personally tell me at the end of the statement, I don't care, man. It ain't going to change my life at all.
Truthfully.
What the fuck we have this argument?
And that, like, but that's the other part of it that people don't realize. People are like, third party candidates don't matter, bitch. Then why do you think they run?
Right.
Yes, they matter. You know, Jill Stein has a phenomenal platform on reparations.
And she literally wakes up every 4 years to run.
That's all she does. And you want to know why? Because Ralph Nader's gone. Ralph Nader can't do it no more. Ralph Nader ain't viable. He used to be the guy.
She wakes up every 4 years.
And you know what happens? They start chipping away. It's like putting a drip on a rock. Drip, drip, drip. Sooner or later, a rock gonna crack open. Cornel West has another phenomenal agenda when it comes to black people and what we need. Those things are not just symbolic runs. Right. They're there in order to force the powers that be to start taking us more seriously. Right. And the reason they don't take us seriously is because we sit up there and we start hashtagging, we start talking about what we gonna do, and if you don't do this, you ain't black. You let white people tell you your blackness, right, and you let that slide? No, dog. I'm a young and said, not on my watch, beloved. Yeah.
We get your opinion on being that we brought up reparations in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a candidate that'll be like, all right, it's that time?
It's how you frame it and what's the action.
I honestly don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen after my time. But I will say this: reparations just can't be money. It needs to have a check component. But repair doesn't come with money. I don't do this from an emotional place. And I've been blackity black all my life. I am foundational. The majority of my ancestors were slaves. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, if I pull up any of your damn DNA, I guarantee you I'll find somebody playing Massa Got Loose in the slave quarters. Here's what I'm saying to you. When it comes to reparations, statistically, over 80% of lottery winners wind up broke in 4 years. So if money was the only answer, it is an answer. It's not the only answer. If money was the only answer, this would have been an easy fix, right? The other part of that is when you look at what this country did to the Japanese Americans during World War II, they locked them up, took them from their homes and their businesses, separated them from their children, and guess what? You know what they did afterwards? They repaired them. They repaired the Chinese for when they shortchanged them on making the railroads. They repaired Jewish people. We ain't really had nothing to do with that. We saved the Jews, specifically black regiments in World War II. You know what I'm saying? To the point where even, there have been talks about how the Nazis are like, black people, why y'all fighting this war? This ain't got nothing to do with you. They don't even like you. We have to understand that repair comes from different categories. Number one, we need our own land. Number two, for me, and this is just how I would do reparations. Yeah, I want that money, but I also want an endowment, and I want that money the same way that you handle the police pension, the fireman's pension, all that. You play it on the stock market, you make sure that it's aggressive, but you also make sure that it's insured so that money is always there, which is what you should really do with Social Security, but that's a whole conversation for another day. Number two, education and or maximum skills training. What I mean by that is a trade that you can't take away from somebody if an industry becomes obsolete, right? On top of that, you ever see the movie Armageddon?
Yes.
My favorite part of Armageddon is when they say the last thing that they want for getting on that rocket ship and breaking that meteor. And we never want to pay taxes again. You want to know why? Because you taxed my great-great-grandfather. My great-great-grandfather was enslaved. And I know that seems weird, but my father's mother was born in 1904. Her father was born in 1892. His father was born in 1861. I'm lucky that part of my lineage I can trace that far back. But my great-great-grandfather was a slave. Like, that's not that far. Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to need you to come right, but I also need you to get out of my way. Right? I don't need you to do anything that's going to create any more inflation. But since you like inflating stuff, I mean, you keep giving money to Ukraine, but you won't take care of our veterans. You keep giving money to Ukraine. You could have taken $20 billion and wiped out and eradicated homelessness. But somehow you find money for illegal immigrants to come over here and get shelter, get food, get clothing, get education for their brats, and training. But you can't do that for American citizens?
It's causing an even bigger crutch on those already here.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, they getting food stamps. They getting Medicaid. Yeah, no. So for me, I think it will happen, but somebody has to make it make sense. And it also has to be a situation where it's also contributing to the greater society at large.
I've been feeling that. Stop giving people checks and tell us what it's going to be. Like,
You know what? Because if they give us the checks, we're going to spend it and we're going to be right back where we are. Plus, the dollar is going to lose its value overnight.
We saw exactly. You saw COVID. Give somebody a check, they're going to spend it. Like, what are we going to do with this? And then also, who is black nowadays? Let's be for real. Who you consider black nowadays? I'm in cannabis right now. They love saying not black. We BIPOC. No, I'm black.
I don't know what BIPOC is.
Exactly. BIPOC.
I don't know what that. I know it means black, indigenous, person of color. I don't know what that is. What is of color? White is a color.
It means the minute they say reparations, you black.
Yeah, no. This is not how this works. So let's solve that because first of all, I'm a foundational black American. If you're Jamaican, you need to talk to King Charles.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, right? If you're Nigerian, you need to talk to King Charles, or the French. If you're Haitian, you need to talk to Ferdinand, whatever the hell his name is, Brigitte Macron, some of them.
Back to France.
Yeah, go talk to France.
Back to France.
But foundational black Americans, I know a lot of people out here like to cosplay like they're foundational, and I ain't shitting on nobody, but I'm keeping it a buck. If your lineage can't trace back to the 1860 census, take care, comb your hair. Simple fix. That's it.
But once we separate that, once that happens, because I don't disagree with that, what happens next? Because the same Jamaicans, the same Nigerians, the same other people from other black people are still ones being punished and oppressed by the same system that started slavery.
They have people they can take those grievances with. That's
And
not.
not from this country. Like you said, we'd have to go back to Great Britain.
You're asking me to fight a fight that has nothing to do with me. That's not my fight.
You answered the question. It's just going to unravel an onion that they don't want to unravel.
They don't want to unravel that onion. Do you realize? Here's the thing, right? This is what I tell people all the time. Show me in the history books where Nigeria or Liberia sent the warships for us. Ghana, did they send the warships for us? Ethiopia, did they send the warships for us? Did anybody who was still on the continent send somebody over here to come get us? When did it happen? No, I'm asking. Anybody? Because it didn't fucking happen. So don't start trying to hitch everybody else to the situation that my ancestors created to make everything better for everybody else. Dick Gregory told me one time, and it changed the way I looked at society. He said, do you know what the civil rights movement really was about? I said, no. He said, not only was it about, black people getting rights, but it was mainly about fat, ugly stewardesses who couldn't get jobs at Pan Am.
He right, because they added that towards the end of it. Right, the civil rights movement, that was added.
Every single movement in this country that has taken effect has been on the backs of black people to benefit non-black people first.
That was added to
So foundational black Americans have a distinction. And before anybody tells me, well, that's a delineation and that's not fair, look at your Instagram profile and take all them fucking flags if you really just down with America. Until you're willing to take down them flags, I don't want to hear that shit. Hold your own nuts, handle your own business, and stay out of my reparations conversation because you don't see me. As many Haitian friends as I got, as many Haitian employees as I got, as many Haitian co-workers, and when I say co-workers, I mean people that I partner with in business. You don't hear me talking about Haiti other than to cut a check and send aid because that's not my fight. I ain't never going to tell a Haitian how to handle their business, so nobody has the right to tell me how to handle mine in this country. When this country and my ancestors paved the way for you to be here, because if your country was that fucking phenomenal, you would still be there. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I know it's uncomfortable and I know it sounds bad, but am I wrong? Because why would you leave paradise? And don't talk to me about how colonized America is. Where one of the number one products they market to black people on the continent of Africa is skin bleach. How many people in Atlanta bleaching their skin? Tell me, pull them in your phone and show them to me.
Not out loud, but
Had you said BBL, but that's another story.
But the BBL industry is nothing but this decade's nose job, because they ran out of Jewish American princesses to do rhinoplasties on. So this is a new untapped, because they ain't tapped everybody, because it's just like, every black man ain't packing, every black woman ain't got a fat ass.
Right.
So let's make you insecure about your ass, and then let's pump it full of shit. Yeah, no.
Because that's the only way you can find a man, and that's a problem with black America.
And most men don't even like that shit. We'll look at it, but we don't like it.
Shoot, I was gonna end it like that. Listen, I was gonna do the recap, and then that's it.
Before we go out, because you're in the hip hop world too. We're all from a certain age.
Certainly.
Do you believe? I know you heard about. Oh, wait, cut all that. Have you seen the Charlemagne commercial with him and Envy?
No.
Have y'all seen it?
Which one?
There's a commercial.
With Biden, though, right?
No, there's a commercial with Charlemagne, and when they talking about Kamala doing the fucking
I did see that.
transgender shit.
Yeah.
And I know they gotta be mad because being that they're a part of a corporation, they have no say so on them giving away that clip.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're using that.
Charlemagne and Envy is shitting on Kamala about the fucking.
I thought that was a
shit.
Trump
And that
administration
shit played
tickle.
all throughout Sunday football. That
Yeah,
shit
it
came
did.
on so many times, and I'm like.
But that's what I'm saying.
So I'm like, I wanted to hear your opinion on it, but if you ain't see it, you can skip.
No, but I will tell you this. Like, I've been friends with Charlemagne for the better part of 2 decades. The thing that
Let me give you more details before you go.
Yeah.
Just to be more clear. What they're saying is the part where they used a clip from Kamala saying she's willing to do whatever it takes for transgenders to do what they need to do, and while they in jail, right? So Charlemagne and Envy's response was, "Don't use my tax dollars to pay for that."
Right.
So I just wanted to give you a scope to, you know what I mean? That's all. Not sure if that was even going to change your response, but I did remember that while he was talking.
Here's the thing. I will say this. Tax dollars shouldn't be used for sex changes, especially for people who have committed crimes. So you're giving them what they couldn't afford when they were out robbing, stealing, killing, raping, destroying our communities? That doesn't make any sense. But she sat there with that person and said, I made sure that every transgender person got the care that they needed. Nah, because you can use my tax dollars for absolutely anything other than me. That's problematic. I don't know why. I don't understand how.
The wild part is other countries don't take that same approach with Americans. When we go to other countries and get free healthcare and free dental work and free all kind of other shit. It's like we don't ever take that same stance with them. Like you go to whole countries that you don't want them to come here because they got cheap dental work.
Yeah, no. And I'm with you on that. But my whole thing is the majority of Americans aren't doing that. And so for me, exceptions don't disprove the rule. The truth of the matter is our dollars are being sent all over the world, not to the benefit of Americans. And that to me is problematic. I think that we need to start hedging our bets. I think we need to start holding politicians accountable. And we have a right to question the people we put in office. I know y'all don't like to do that because if you have a hard problem voting for me or Trump, you ain't black. But let me tell you something. How many people in here have 300 employees? How many of those employees are black? 298. Oh wait, that's me.
298.
298. So I don't want to hear nothing about how black you are. Because how many black jobs have you created? Exactly. 4 versus 300. I could do this all day. 4 is still phenomenal, and I'm not shitting on it. One black job that keeps them out of the system is phenomenal. Here's where I'm going with this. And this, understand that politics is business, and business is financial. And this is a corporation that masquerades and cosplays at the United States of America. I went to Missoula, Montana on a consulting gig. Ain't a whole lot of black people in Missoula, Montana, so you can pretty much gauge who hired me to consult them. And I called one of my best friends on the face of the planet. And his name is David Banner. And I said to him, yo, I got this gig in Missoula. I consulted, I killed it, this, that, and the third. He was like, that's good, bro. I said, what's wrong? He said, there's nothing wrong. He was like, damn, no, I hate that. I said, what? He said, because if we had you, you wouldn't need them. Fast forward about 6 years. He does this podcast. I was like, yo, how do I buy advertisement? He sent me somebody, and I talked to him. I said, cool. I said, yeah, I bought a whole show. I bought every commercial for over a year. Every single commercial. Because I don't need my friend feeling like he got to dance where he need to be free to say whatever he wanted to. I spent so much money on that show that he had to give me a refund of like $7,000. That's what it's about. Every decision that you make is political. Your financial decisions are political, and your political decisions are financial. And if they're not, then you're emotional and they got you. But when you treat it like it's transactional, I'm giving you something. You've never paid somebody without getting something in return. You ain't never going to Target and say, here's $200. That don't happen. You get something for your money. Your vote is also your money. But with your vote, you also need to put something down financially, and I think that that is extremely important. But yeah, when Kamala Harris decides that, I saw the commercial where Trump says she's for they, them.
Yeah, that was the same commercial.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I had my back turned because I was fixing the dog's food or doing something. Yeah, listen. I thought that was crazy, but guess what? When you're a public figure, hey, all is fair in love. Yeah, so like to me, I'm not really bugged out by that because you put it out there. Just like you said on The View, which is a friendly program to you, that you can't think of one thing you to change versus what Joe Biden, that's what she called him Joe Biden would have done. So how are you turning the page if you're just gonna give me more of the same? That right there is a contradiction. How are you going to say that reparations need to be studied when you told Al Sharpton you was going to give us reparations as soon as it came across your desk? Again, all I'm stating is facts, right? I think Donald Trump needs to come out with a better platinum plan because the new platinum plan has not been released. I've heard that he's working on it. I want to see what it is. I don't think he goes far enough for what he needs to do for black people. And I want a candidate to be okay with saying, hey, black people need stuff too. Because if you don't know, see, here's where racists go wrong. And there are racists on both sides of the aisle, including the one who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who y'all think is your friend because he was the vice president of Obama, when y'all realize that he was a blue dog Democrat and he was there to balance the Obama ticket. The problem with racists is they don't realize that black people, see, every other community spends days, if not weeks, if not months, circulating their money. Our money lasts in our community 6 hours before we go spending it with somebody else. So if anything, reparations would be helping white people more, would be helping black people. Because then they have to admit to all the wrongdoing, and that opens them up to what would happen when the UN decides to sanction them for crimes against humanity and the largest genocide in history. But you got to realize every 30 years they refresh with a brand new person. That's nothing new. Do your math. Right? When somebody outgrows their usefulness, when they stop making hits, when they think that they're bigger than the agenda, and when you start pissing off the wrong people, they're going to pull your card because you're going to give them something. All you got to do to understand the hip-hop industry is watch the devil's advocate. Everybody got a vice. Everybody got a tell. Everybody got an issue. Everybody got a thing that's imperfect. Everybody's got an Achilles heel, up to and including me. The difference is I don't really buy into the system. Who you going to call? You going to call my boss? Wait, I am my boss. You had to call Jesus. You might have a good run with my wife, but I can divorce my wife. Then I've completely neutralized the situation. I'm cool with being out of the system. Most people love the system. It's the difference between a Dame Dash and a Jay-Z. Jay-Z wanted to keep using the white folks' money. Dame Dash wanted to just use the money they were making off the white folks. Two schools of thought. Neither one is wrong. It just depends on your perspective and what you want out of the situation. I think right now we have to understand that Puffy's outgrown his usefulness. And people are like, well, Cassie was just so... Cassie was activated. Everybody was activated. Monica Lewinsky was activated. It's just for such a time as this. And by the way, it's funny how they hem up the mayor of New York, they hem up Puffy, But Matt Lauer, and I used to work for NBC Universal. I can tell you can't get a paperclip past security without them knowing about it. So how does an entire desk get installed with James Bond villain level buttons on it that can lock the door, close it, shut the blinds, and turn off the lights?
Bro, we can get into social media if that's the case, because I don't see how Vince McMahon has been able to go for 4
Right,
decades
see, he's been doing.
being who he has, and ain't never saw a courtroom except for a steroids case.
Vince McMahon for a very long time ran a company that wasn't publicly traded. When he went public, it became a problem. That's what that is.
So do you think as black companies should be? Because that's the thing too. How do we stay together? Because it's like, damn, every time we try to excel, we have to fuck with them. And then when we fuck with them, there's always a problem.
Because the problem is there's a difference between fucking with them and getting in bed with them. The other part of that is, right? If I work, and I work all over the world. There are black people all over the world, but there's some people I work with who ain't black. But the difference is if I work with a Jewish person on a particular project, that Jewish dollar in my hand becomes a black dollar that I can then pay my 298 black employees. That's the difference. I'm not thinking that everybody is my friend. I'm black people first. I'm not black people exclusively. I'm black people first. They're at the front of my line, unlike the U.S. government where we're at the back of the line, but they keep beating us to death and taking our money and our blood. So for me, it's a matter of, one, understanding that this is a corporation and this is transactional. Number two, understanding that everybody's not your friend. And number three, you got to throw out your trash. Some of y'all, like, watch this. White people put their trash in trailer parks. Indian people put their trash in slums. Black people put their trash upstairs in the bedroom and slide the plate under the door. Tell me where I'm telling lies. So at the end of the day, we won't reject our trash. We're like, man, that's just Pookie. He's all right.
Okay.
But it goes on emotion because we
Again, this is not a, you're playing an emotional game.
I'm like, I'm always going, I'm going to fuck with you first.
And I'm always going to fuck with you. Listen, real rap, this man hit me. Watch this. I'm going to tell, this man hit me, was like, yo, you want something to drink? I said, I want some Jack Daniels honey and some lemon pepper wings. Wings was hot and ready. Jack was on deck. I love that man for that, because he showed up for me. But this is business. I hate you. I hate everything about you. I hope all the bad things in life that could possibly happen to you. But that's the thing. I can emotionally love that brother, but still tell him professionally he's fucking up. We don't do that. We wrap everything together. They don't do that. I fell when I was in my senior year of college. They told me I'd never walk again without the use of a cane. You see a cane with me? That's because my lawyer, it's a guy named Mike Lerner at the time. He's no longer my lawyer. I don't even know where Mike Lerner is. It's been 30 years. But Mike Lerner said, I'm going to find you. I know the best medical professional who's going to make it, so I don't give a damn what that hospital told you. You'll walk without a cane. I guarantee it. And I'm like, this motherfucker's crazy. He said, hey, Richie, you son of a bitch. I'm sending you a client. His name's Dave Anderson. I told him you can make him walk without a cane in 6 months. Can you do it? Of course you can. Fuck you. Love you. See you later.
That's it.
He was like, I grew up with Richie. He's a fucking putz, but he's great at what he does. He's going to take care of you. He's looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9. And for 6 months, that man put me through all types of physical therapy, all types of medical treatments. And I haven't walked with a cane since I fell 2 stories. It's not about me walking or not walking with a cane. It's that whether he liked Richie or not, he knew who to give the business to. Because when that settlement came in, Mike Lerner got his piece, Richie got his piece, and I got what was left over. We don't do that. I'm always, if I'm in town and I can pull up, I'm going to pull up. And that's the funny thing. I ain't been here in 312 pounds in 6-7 years. I said, yo, I remember. He's like, you going to remember when you get here? I was like, yeah, I've been here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pull up on my people because I'm not above my people. I love my people. I want my people to win. If this does any numbers for you, I'm not like, yo, kick me back on the back end of your daggone monetization. My money comes from the clips. We got to get past stupid shit. We can't step over dollars to just pick up some dimes. We got to step over the dimes and the trinkets and the bullshit and the stupid ass deals to get to the real money. Everybody else, the Jews, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, the Ethiopians, the Nigerians, Everybody's getting to the money except us. And like, thank you, stupid niggas. And on that, I yield my time.
Amazing, brother. Real quick. Once again, the event tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It is called Bridging the Wealth Gap.
Bridging the Wealth Gap. Yes, sir. It's going to be an amazing event. I'm super excited about it. I found out last night we sold out, and I'm like, oh, shit, this just got real. But that's the thing. I got what I want to say in mind, but I can get up there, read the crowd, and God will give me a completely different message to deliver. But I will tell you, if you care about entrepreneurship and you haven't bought a ticket yet, I would just get my face in the place and just buy the VIP. Because, yeah, it's $250 for the VIP, but you get to see Master P, you get a T-shirt, you get an autograph, you get to sit in choice seating, and you're going to get this work.
That's it.
You're going to get this work. So I have not, when I tell you I have given a lot of speeches in my day, I am, to this point, in the, 2024? So in the 33 years I've been speaking professionally, I am more excited about this speech than I have been ever. And I'm happy, regardless of who you rock with in the entrepreneurial space. And I got a lot of smoke for a lot of gurus, but in reality, I'm happy that people want to be entrepreneurs again. My grandmother, my mother's mom, said, I couldn't get with my kids on the civil rights movement. I said, Mimar. She said, no, hear me out. And she's like, I was born in 1920 something. She said, for me, I raised my children, every last one of my children except for your mama, was born in a black hospital with black nurses and black doctors. Name a black hospital. I said, Howard University Hospital. She said, name 3 more. I couldn't. She was like, we knew who our butcher was. We know the farm that he went to. And the farm he went to was farmed by a black farmer, so we knew where the meat was coming from. We knew all our kids' teachers. Everybody knew each other. I'm not saying things were perfect, but my kids went and marched and got hoses poured on them and dogs sicked on them so they can sit at lunch counters and eat unseasoned food. I don't get it. My grandmom was a little bit raw about these types of things. My whole thing is, I'm happy to see us coming together. Even if we have differences of opinion, even if we got different ways of getting to the top of the mountain, I love the fact that we're together in trying to free people from the 40-40-40 plan, which is 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of your income. Nah, that's bad math. The math ain't mathing on that for me. So y'all need to come to this situation at New Birth. I thank God for Pastor Bryant putting it on. I thank God for Master P for allowing it to happen. And I thank God that I'm able to grace that stage with so many great people.
We thank you, brother. We're looking forward to what's next.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to what's next. Look, I get excited every morning. I don't know what the hell God's going to throw at me, but I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to be walking in my purpose. And thank you for the platform, and thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, man.
My pleasure, brother. Great job, man.
Watch this.
Welcome once again.